Hopefully there'll be a few more people trickling in. We're already very happy to have all of you here. We do like to start things on time, and I've promised a lot of people, maybe to get you here, that this would go quickly and be short. So I do want to get started. Again, I said there are agendas and a sign-in sheet in the back. We would like to record you if you're present this evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tivoli's historic Watts-de-Peyster Hall. Thank you very much, each and every one of you, for being here tonight. This is the Tivoli Village Board of Trustees annual reorganizational meeting. The official village year begins the first Monday of the month following the village election. With our elections in March, the reorganizational meeting, or reorg as we call it, is held in April. It is when the Village Board of Trustees reasserts and reestablishes its policies and procedures. It is when appointed offices are filled, when appointments to various boards and committees are made. It is the annual restating of how we will operate and conduct business in the year to come. But the reorg cannot begin until the elected officials take their oaths of office. We have 2 re-elected trustees who will serve 2-year terms. I'd like to now ask our village justice, the Honorable Howard F. Clark, to please approach the podium and administer the oaths of office. Emily Major, please approach the podium and take the oath of office for village trustee. I don't have the oath. We're going to find the oath. How about that? You got this memorized yet?
I can do it.
Okay. If you can.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Emily Major,
Do you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of New York
I do.
and fulfill the duties of village trustee to the best of your ability?
I will fulfill the duty of the village trustee to the best of my abilities.
You swear or affirm?
I do both.
Thanks, Mark. Congratulations. Jean Ann Schneider, please approach the podium and take the oath for the office of village trustee.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jean Ann Schneider,
Swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of New York to the best of my ability.
swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York to the best of my ability,
And fulfill the duties of village trustee to the best of my ability.
and fulfill my duties as trustee for the village to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Clark. Now that the elected officials have been duly sworn, I hereby call to order the 2018 reorganizational meeting of the Village of Tivoli Board of Trustees. I invite you all to now rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The first order of business is the filling of appointed offices for which the terms of office have expired. These appointments are made by the mayor and are subject to the approval of the board. I have submitted to the trustees my nominees for the positions of deputy clerk and acting justice, each of which has a 1-year term. Trustees, if you are comfortable approving both candidates together, we can do it with a single vote. Or if any trustee would like to vote for or against an individual nomination, we may take each candidate in a separate vote. Preference? Together? Good. In that case, is there a motion to approve the appointments of Kristen Cleveland to deputy clerk and Danielle Cordier to acting justice? That was moved and seconded. That was Major, followed by Ezrati. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
These candidates have been appointed by the mayor and have the approval of the Village Board of Trustees. Now they shall take their oaths. I'm sorry, Justice, we have 2 more. Kristen Cleveland, please approach and take the oath as deputy clerk.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kristen Cleveland,
Promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of New York
promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of
to
New
the
York
best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
and fulfill the duties of
Deputy Clerk.
Deputy Clerk to the best of my ability.
and fulfill the duties of Deputy Clerk to the best of my ability.
I'm very pleased to invite Danielle Cordier to approach and take an oath to be our new acting justice.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Danielle Cordier,
Promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States
promise to uphold the Constitution of the
and
United
the state
States
of New York,
and the state of New York,
and fulfill the duties of acting justice to the best of my ability.
and fulfill the duties of acting justice to the best of my abilities.
Thank you and congratulations to our appointed officials, and I think we should give Justice Clark another round of applause for her. Now that our oaths are concluded, we come to that particularly fun, memorable, and meaningful part of the evening, the annual Citizen Awards. The Village of Tivoli has 4 Citizen Awards. There are plaques in the hallway on the 2nd floor outside the clerk's office on which the names of past recipients are inscribed. Tonight we add 4 more names to the record of outstanding citizens who have generously given their time, expertise, talent, and heart to our community. First is the 2018 Victory Award. Generally, the emphasis of this award is that a citizen made a positive impact on the children of our village. The plaque is inscribed for assistance and commitment to the Village of Tivoli in our efforts to empower our youth. However, this year's recipient has done that, certainly, but also more, so I'm going to stretch it just a bit. Let's just say he has empowered children of all ages. For years now, this engaged citizen has repeatedly donated his professional skills and artistic talent to recording all the actors in the community of Tivoli, young and old, in incredible photographs. He donated many of his beautiful photographs to help us overhaul the village website a couple years ago. I want to thank him for helping me establish a great tradition, and I'm having fun watching him squirm because he didn't know I was going to do this. That great tradition we've started and he's continued is the annual community photograph of Tivoli Day. We enjoy these images now, and with every year they become more precious documents of Tivoli's past glories. While doing all this, he has actually attended many, many board meetings and public hearings and has always contributed broad-mindedly and constructively to village discussions. The number of times I've heard him say, I can see this, I can also see that. It's really appreciated. He's a great community member and village citizen. For all these reasons, it is my great pleasure to award the 2018 Victory Award to Pete Mauney. The Village of Tivoli recognizes your repeated generosity and community spirit. Thank you for donating your professional skills and artistic talent and photographing so many wonderful moments which compose life in our community. Your images celebrate our present, and in the years to come will grow even more valuable as records of Tivoli's past. Please accept this recognition on behalf of the grateful village. That was fun. Now the next 3 awards are named in honor of past Tivolians who left their mark to such a degree that Tivoli named awards after them. So when we honor tonight's recipients, we also honor and remember these individuals for which these awards are named and their legacy to our village. First we have the Alan T. Covert Award. And the plaque is inscribed, dedicated individuals believe it is their responsibility to assist community leaders and residents to always make that community a better place. Now this year's recipient has been working in the wings, helping Tivoli's officials and residents for quite a few years now. It's been half a decade, and within this time, we can't count just how many hours she has volunteered. As a recent coordinator of the community garden, and a longtime member and interim chairperson of the Tivoli Green Committee, from topsoil deliveries and garden work parties to extensive research on LED streetlights, which are in Tivoli's future coming up, thanks to her work. She has proven a very hard worker, a team player, and a Tivoli booster. It is my pleasure to award the 2018 Alan T. Covert Award to Danielle Ryu. recognizes you, your years of service on the Tivoli Green Committee, your tenure as interim chair, and 3 seasons as coordinator of the beautiful Tivoli Community Garden. Thank you for sharing your time, talent, and leadership, all of which have enriched our community. Please accept this recognition on behalf of a grateful village.
Thank you.
Next award is the Angelo Stafiro Award for Decency. The plaque is inscribed, "For the good found in all people and the ability of some to quietly give of themselves." One of the best. Our next honoree did some of his growing up here in Tivoli, although he's moved a bit outside the village since, but it has been great to have him back in town while he's been volunteering with us recently. A while back, he stepped in at our Tivoli Arbor Day when our tree expert was unavailable to lead the ever-popular guided tree walk. He filled in, did a great job, and attendees benefited because trees are his thing. Now, tree hugger falls terribly short. His knowledge, appreciation of trees is taller, broader, and much deeper than that. And when he does put his arms around a tree, it's to measure its diameter and assess whether it could be in the running to be a state champion of a particular species. So he led the walk, and at that Arbor Day, he asked if we needed help with our newly sprouted tree committee, which had branched off the Green Committee. Those are my puns, not his. Don't blame him. Ever since, he has taught us so much about how to select for and care for our new trees. He has also been nice enough to help us quite a bit with our recent daffodil efforts. For all these reasons, it is my pleasure to present the 2018 Angelo Stafiro Award to Dan McKenna. Dan McKenna, the Village of Tivoli recognizes your invaluable participation on the Tivoli Tree Committee. Thank you for sharing your time, expertise, and knowledge to help beautify our village. From purple locusts to yellow daffodils, your contributions to our community will be visible for years to come. Please accept this recognition on behalf of a grateful village. Now, our last award is the James Starr Clark Citizen of the Year. The inscription is, "A community is only as great as those who give exemplary service." James Starr Clark was many things, but he was also the first president of the village when it was incorporated in 1872. I'm glad I'm not called the president and they changed the name at some point. It takes some of the pressure off. This year's recipient earns this recognition certainly because of his character and who he is, but also in large part because of the importance of the project he has successfully overseen and will continue to oversee. Of all the challenges we have surpassed and all the critical tasks we have accomplished as a board and a community this year, I think that one of the most important, one of the happiest for Tivoli, and the one I want to shine the spotlight on, was the robust return of the Tivoli Children's Recreation Program. I believe that all the hard work we have done in the last several years, tackling late-night noise, quality of life concerns, fiscal responsibility, preserving and enhancing infrastructure from the treatment plant to the bus stop to new sidewalks, taking care of our historic resources like this incredible building, promoting the Tivoli brand with our business association, supporting our cultural institutions, our beautification efforts and community festivals, plotting a way forward with our ancient water and sewer systems, and figuring out where the chicken should go and where the garbage cans need to go. All of that is really about a simple thing. It's about ensuring that Tivoli is, quite simply, a really nice place to live. And that also means a great place to grow up in. A really nice place to live and a great place to grow up in. It sounds simple, but it's not assured, nor is it easy, especially with the limited resources and personnel of our village. Fortunately, we have a strong community. We have committed, engaged, and generous residents. We have wise and well-meaning officials. We have dedicated and tireless staff. And together, we take care of our place, our really, really nice place. We do all these concrete and tangible things that I just mentioned to try and affect the intangibles, to try and shape and steer the intangible, the vital and enviable intangibles that we have here in Tivoli: community strength, community pride, and a great quality of life. We do it so that this village can continue to be a nice place to live for this and future generations, and that the standards we hold for our community will be passed to the next generation. I feel strongly that the Tivoli Rec program is the icing on the cake. For me, that's how it sits in relation to all those other efforts. That's where we want to get. The community, the world, the village, the life we create for the children, our children, is the greatest indicator of how this or any community is doing. The Board of Trustees took a brave risk 2 summers ago and reluctantly canceled the program. The fact was that it was in need of reinvigoration, redesign. While we were concerned about losing momentum, the idea was to regroup, reevaluate, and relaunch a summer program safe, fun, and enriching for the children of Tivoli. We did that. Last summer, 29 kids participated, and by all measures, we came back with a great program. I want to thank all the parents and children who participated. I see some of those young faces, and I mean the parents, and the younger faces, the children here tonight. But I also want to acknowledge the man who led the charge. On a personal note, I met him when we were both kids in the Tivoli Rec in the summer of 1985. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we both enjoyed the rec program as kids that some adults from another era made for us. It's not a coincidence we enjoyed it as kids, and we are both working together 33 years later to take care of Tivoli as adults. I am sure that among the kids from last summer are a few future trustees and mayors. The 2018 James Starr Clark Citizen of the Year goes to Trustee Christopher Murphy. He's playing it cool as he always does, but he had no idea. Christopher Murphy, the Village of Tivoli proudly honors you for reestablishing the Tivoli Children's Recreation Camp. Thank you for creating a fun, safe, and enriching program for our children and their families. The memories and friendship made by your program's smiling participants will indeed last a lifetime. Your vision, commitment, and hours of effort exemplify Tivoli's community spirit. Please accept this recognition on behalf of a grateful village. And we're doing the program again. One of the best things you can do to get someone to double down on their wonderful service is give them an award. So I have done that. And you just want to tell us where we're at with sign-ups and what's happening?
I actually just got the flyer done last night, so I'm working on tightening up some details on it. We're looking at 2 weeks again in August, the first 2 weeks after Community Day, August 6th through 10th and August 13th through the 18th. And we're looking at extending the time from 9 o'clock to 12. We're going to extend it up to 2 o'clock. And we're working on getting some great activities again this year.
Excellent. So we hope that all our Tivoli families will participate again. Thank you and congratulations to all our honorees. The successes of this year would not have been possible without the hard work and dedication of many, many people. To our volunteers on the planning and zoning boards, the Waterfront Revitalization Committee, the Green Committee, the Tree Committee, and the Zoning Review Committee, you do a lot of heavy lifting around here, and everyone in Village Hall and your friends and neighbors throughout the village are deeply indebted to you. Your generosity, time, and expertise are deeply, deeply appreciated. Can we get a round of applause for the boards and committees, please? I know. And there's another committee that I want to mention, which is the Tivoli Day Committee. I'm not sure if that's why you're giving me that look. We meet sort of as needed, so it's not like in my head, but they do work too, so I'm glad I remembered to mention them quickly. And then I'll find out why you're looking at me that way. Later. Thank you to our village engineer, Crawford and Associates. Thank you very much to our village attorney, Christine Shale. Thank you to our financial consultant, Michelle Zagorski, and our village planner, Michelle Gregg. Is Michelle here? Okay. I want to thank the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, the deputies who enforce our laws, keep us safe, and we're very pleased to have you here tonight. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you to our new and hardworking zoning and code enforcement officer, John Fenton. John's here, right? Where are you, John? There you go. Thanks, John. That's why we scheduled his office hours right before this, so he just has to come upstairs. Thank you to our treasurer, Bonnie Day. Thank you to our deputy clerk. Signed up for another year. Thank you, Kristen. Kristen Cleveland. I want to say a special thank you to my colleague, collaborator, and friend, our clerk, Robin Bruno. Thank you for all your hard work, dedication, kindness, and good humor. All of us in Tivoli, the village government, and residents are so fortunate to have you. And I had an idea today while I was writing this. I thought we could take your screensaver of the fuzzy cat. It looks like it just got out of bed. We could put it on the water bill instead of my picture. It's my idea. I think that would be really fun. My abiding gratitude to my colleagues on the Village Board of Trustees. Thank you for your wisdom, your candor, your good judgment as we work together to move Tivoli forward. This board functions like a board is supposed to. Sometimes I wish Congress worked that way as well. Everyone brings their best to the difficult choices we have every month, and the village is better for it. We argue, we discuss, we do not always disagree, we check each other, we wreck each other, but we come together at the end, and I would not be able to do my job without your support and your teamwork. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Village of Tivoli Department of Public Works. Thank you for all that you do to keep this village going. Cody Thayer, Ralph Torsha Jr., and Superintendent James Simmons, which brings me to one last, and certainly not least, recognition. This one's very special, best for last. He's modest, he's honest, and he works like few people I've ever met. He's as Tivoli gets, and tonight's about the fact that he has been here for a very, very long time. Folks, I want to let you know that it was on September 27th, 1982, 35 years ago, that a young, strapping Jimmy Simmons had his first day working for the Village of Tivoli. Jim, it's hard to put into words all this community has to thank you for. We cannot estimate or overestimate the work, the sweat, the stress, and the effort that you have given to Tivoli time and time again over 3.5 decades. Whenever it was necessary, whenever the people of Tivoli have needed you, whether it was 2 in the morning or 2 degrees, and often both, you have been there for us. And amazingly, through it all, you are a consistently nice and good-humored human being. I've never thought to ask this, but what do you have for breakfast? We feted Jimmy at a smaller village event in December, but tonight, at the most important meeting the board has all year, and with the cameras rolling, I wanted to give Jim a big public thank you. Jim, would you come up here, please? Jim, I know this is just what you always wanted. Maybe you can put it on your dashboard next to the action figure. Maybe you can mount it on the grill of your truck. But we got a shiny brass plaque, and it is my great honor on behalf of our entire village to present it to you. I'd like to read it now. The Village of Tivoli honors James A. Simmons for 35 years of dedicated service to our community. Thanks, Jimmy. April 18th, 2018. And there's an additional little inscription on the back that I wrote that says, Jim, you can never retire. My fellow Tivolians, this is the state of the village address. It is now 3 full years that I have had the honor of serving as your mayor. I hope that you agree with me that if we think back to 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that this village was in a very different place. I hope you agree with me that since that time, our community got itself unstuck, stood up, and began to author the present and the future that we want for our Tivoli. This year, together, we continued that authorship. On the heels of our Pine Street improvements, Phase 1, which made the bus lane, some sidewalk, and the new bus shelter, this year, we secured a $95,000 grant to fund Phase 2, which will make further drainage improvements and replace the sidewalk on the south side of the street all the way to North Road. Our core village center sidewalks will be the best they've been when that work gets done. From there, we just want to expand out. We've done some of that already. While the county was rebuilding our bridge on Broadway, and they did 60 feet of sidewalk on either side, Tivoli rebuilt the adjacent sidewalk from the pizzeria down to the bridge. So that for the first time in years, 15 or 20 maybe, we have a clear sidewalk from the center of the village down to the bridge and back. It is our hope and intention to continue replacing sidewalk wherever we can, certainly east of the bridge where we have identified great need, out towards Clay Hill Road. We probably can't do that all in 1 year, depending on funding, but we are going to keep working out that way. It's been a couple of years now since our noise and nuisance gathering laws were implemented, but I think we have seen the effects. Affecting the intangibles takes time. Controlling the intangibles is difficult and probably impossible, but you can affect them. And without question, this village is no longer a noisy nightmare, 15 weeks a semester, year in and year out. And the negative college town reputation is truly being replaced by an arts and culture, family-friendly reputation that we desire and deserve. The back-to-back weekends we just saw in Tivoli at Murray's, 2 weekends ago, the 3rd annual Tivoli's Got Talent show, stuffed with people, stuffed with kids, families. And then, of course, last weekend for 3 shows, the incredible Story Horse Theater production, stuffed with people, art lovers, adults. These events show the change that we are creating by defining our own space and authoring the community that we have. The restaurants were packed. People came from far afield to Tivoli, and it was certainly very nice of us, smart enough to already live here, because we could just walk up there and see these shows. It's great, right? Our proximity to the college, the students, and the alums, and all the positive things they bring are still here. That will always be the case, and most of it is good, but we had to deal with the parts that are not good. We have brought balance to a dynamic which was tearing Tivoli apart for just a few years ago. Now, I made my point about the Tivoli Rec program earlier. We want to see, and we are seeing, the village be a pro-family, pro-children place where families want to move and stay. The village has continued to work with the Businesses Association, Tivoli Merchants and Artists, to keep our village alive and lively. I hope you have seen the new green way signs up on 9G. Has anyone not seen them? They went up just about 2 weeks ago. So we haven't really had any signs out there since those white ones came down. There were problems. They didn't fit the DOT requirements. So the Merchants and Artists came to me and said, we want signs up there. People see our website, and then they drive by Tivoli, and they can't wait to turn. Well, it only took 18 months of back and forth with the DOT, but 2 weeks ago, the signs went up. They comply with DOT rules. They're going to stay. They're 18 inches high, 48 inches wide, and they say Tivoli, turn here, arrow. We got it done. There were many other little improvements I won't enumerate because I hope that you can see and feel the collective impact of the changes all around you. I don't want to go on too long because I remember speaking with Jenny last year after this, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure she said, I like what you had to say, but you took a little too long to say. So, I appreciate that feedback, and she's not the only one I heard it from, so this mayor listens.
I love this.
I have a couple announcements. 2 are happy, 1 is a bit more sober and serious. Happy ones first. This month, Tivoli will be the recipient of an electric car charging station courtesy of Dutchess County. They are installing 4 electric charging stations in the whole county that they won through a grant, and one of them is going to go just outside this building, down the first 2 spots in our parking lot, sort of near the gazebo there. And won't that be another exciting enhancement to what our village has to offer residents and visitors? And I want to thank the Green Committee for being such big supporters of that project, and aren't we lucky that we sort of created the mojo that the county, the timing, it all worked. So, for a second happy announcement, I go back to the bridge on Broadway, our new bridge. Now that it's only waiting for the final capstones on the parapet, and now that the agony and inconvenience of the detour is fading into distant memory, because wasn't that a pain, I have some great news about the bridge. We are working with Dutchess County DPW and the county executive to dedicate Tivoli's new bridge to the late, great Bernie Teeger. Bernie was an educator. He served on the village planning board. He was a village trustee, village historian. He ran the wonderful bookstore. He was a resident for half a century. Some of his family are here tonight, and I'm so glad that you are here to share this announcement with us. When Bernie finished his history of Tivoli, he selected the bridge, the gateway, that little portal that we all feel. You come down the hill and you're in Tivoli. The world's behind and you've entered a special place. He chose that for the cover of his History of Tivoli book. And it is very appropriate that the bridge will be dedicated to Bernie's memory. And of course, Bernie's bridge has a nice ring to it. I think we could. Now, on a more serious note, when future Tivolians look back at this year and ask what was the state of the village, the biggest thing that they will see is that this was the year that we turned to face the challenges of our ancient water and wastewater systems. Throughout 2017 and 2018, this community, many of you, digested information, discussed possibilities, debated choices, and after public meetings in May and July and November and myriad conversations, big and small, in between, the difficult but most responsible choice, which would ensure that our infrastructure needs are met and maintained for the next coming decades, became clear. In December, the village board, acting with the will of the vast majority of village residents, resolved to move forward with the transfer of our water and wastewater systems to Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. Now, this process is not over, nor is the transfer complete. I have some good news and some more difficult news. The good news is that the users of these systems have qualified for hardship financing with the New York State Department of Health. We qualify because we are so hard up, so small, and we have so many water main breaks. We qualified for up to a $4.7 million zero-interest loan. We will be applying for that loan, and we also are going to be applying for an opportunity for $3 million in grant funding. That's not even a loan, that's a straight grant under another state program. What this all means is that hopefully we can secure the cheap money, not cheap money, but less cheap than high interest rates, for the DCWWA to work with when they take over. Do not misunderstand me. As I have said, as we have said all along, the improvements are coming, and regardless of who owned the systems, they are going to be expensive. It's going to cost a lot of money to fix this stuff, and our bills are going up sharply in the near future. That is all still true. The pain is unavoidable. But we are working, the village board are working to secure the best financing we can get for our needs before the transfer. Now here's the difficult part. Before we can apply for this financing I just mentioned, the loan and the grant, we have to settle some very big questions about Tivoli's next water tower. In case anyone is still unaware, our 80-year-old water tower must come down and be replaced. It is undersized, and it needs to be sandblasted to bare steel to be repainted, a process which costs more than a brand new 2018 water tower. The economics of that, the price tag of that, and then again it's undersized, the flow requirements, the fire protection requirements, all of those pieces of information have made that decision for us. New water tower. Now what we can and what we will get to decide is what will our next water tower look like and where will it go. Next to the old tower is one possibility, and at the McKnight well field is another possibility. Now McKnight is when you're driving into Tivoli and you pass the monuments on your right, and then there's that large grassy mowed area with the little brick building opposite Clay Hill at the top of the hill. That's the McKnight well field, and that is another possible location for a water tank to serve this village. Now the good news is that we can make these determinations about a landmark and a symbol we care so much about and not leave it up to the DCWWA. The tough news is that we have to move fast to go after that money. We have to answer these questions. What kind of tower, where is it going to go, before we can do the seeker, which is a process which we have to do in order to go chase that money. So this is the important announcement. Thursday, May 17th, 7 p.m. In this room, we will hold a public forum in which information will be presented to residents to determine the style and location of our next water tower, our next storage tank. We will have images of different water towers in different locations. They're all being photoshopped right now by an engineer we've hired, this style, that style, in the park, at midnight. And each of them, will be here where we can see it, and it'll have a big old Bob Barker price tag at the bottom. What is the 60-year cost of this style? 60-year cost of that style. Some are cheap to build, have a lot of maintenance. Some are expensive to build, less maintenance. And unfortunately, as you can imagine, as in most things, the prettiest one is the most expensive. So, we will be exposed together as a community to this information on May 17th. We will keep that up and open for a couple weeks. You can absorb it, we can absorb it, we can ask questions, we're all going to have the community conversation again. But by the first few days of June, the village board will have to make a decision under seeker about what kind of tank we want and where it's going to go. We have to do all this again in order to go chase that money, which we want to lock in, before we transfer, so that they're working with the cheapest financing they can. And eventually, finding that money and particularly determining our next water tower, it's better we decide that than they decide that. I hope we can all agree there. And we're going to need your help. There will be, this is going to be difficult again. It's going to be controversial again. But after seeing how this community, how our residents tackled the tough decisions about the transfer question itself last year, I have great faith, and I know that this community can do what we must for the good of our village and its future on these next questions. We have to do this work very soon. Thursday, May 17th, 7 o'clock. Tell your neighbors, please come right here. So, that's pretty heavy. I know it's been a long, cold, damp, and dreary spring. It seems in recent weeks like consistent sun will never come. We had a peak this afternoon, but it wasn't good enough for me, I can tell you that. But we have to believe the sun will come. And while we are waiting, I will tell you that Saturday, August 4th, 2 days before the commencement of the summer rec camp, August 4th will be our next Tivoli Community Day, and to help us get excited, let's unveil the community photograph from last year, courtesy of Pete Money, and you can all come up and look at it after we enjoy our cake. But, thank you very much, everyone, for being here, for your time and attention this evening. We do have a lot to be grateful for here in our village, and we have a lot to celebrate. There's always more work to be done, and as we have in the last few years, we will continue to do it together. Thank you very much. And then for you hardcore fans, you can stick around, and we're going to have a regular board meeting. It's going to be brief, but we'll do some work. But for now, let's enjoy each other and have some cake.
I took Dylan.
Okay, folks, we're going to move on from that really sweet reception and that excellent cake to our monthly board meeting. And hey, John. Yep, thanks. Okay, we are returning to order, and Clerk Verona, if you're ready, we'll go right into the village clerk's report.
Yes. 2 payrolls were processed by Treasurer Day. 445 trash tags were sold, and the deputy clerk attended 1 zoning board of appeals meeting.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the treasurer's report. Oh, yes. Sorry. 3 sets of minutes, right? March 21st meeting, March 29th special meeting, and April 11th public hearing on the tentative budget. 3 sets of minutes. You've had a chance to review these. The deputy mayor has moved that they be accepted. Is there a second?
Second.
That's trustee Schneider. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are accepted. Thank you. Moving on to the treasurer's report. This month, out of the general fund, we spent $19,414.56. Out of the water fund, $9,422.75. And out of the sewer fund, $3,810.45, for a grand total of $32,647.76. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
That was Trustee Murphy, followed by Trustee Israedi. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was Schneider, followed by Major. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Bills may be paid. Moving on to building inspector report. Trustee Israedi, I believe. Take a moment. It's in,
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to confess I left the bill for the water out.
well, here's the report. There you go.
Okay. The code enforcement officer issued 5 building permits. There were 14 violations related to trash cans. That would have been the first month that our new legislation was.
14 trash can violations.
Yeah. There were 3 municipal searches and no fire inspections scheduled.
Thank you, Trustee Israedi. Moving on to public comment on agenda items. On our regular business, we have the adoption of the reorg packet. This contains all the committees, who's on the planning board, who's on the ZBA, various trustee duties, the paper of record bank, and our meeting schedule, etc. We also have the code of ethics, which we re-adopt, and some budget modifications, and unpaid water sewer rent liens. Is there any public comment on these agenda items? Seeing none, we will move into regular business. Council, we do this by motion on the reorg packet, first one.
You have this packet as opposed to the resolution?
I have on my agenda adoption of reorganizational packet, and then I have 4 resolutions.
First package.
And the packet is.
Sure, because you already approved the actual reappointments, right? So
Yeah.
if you, sure.
Okay. So, trustees, we've been through this. It's just great to have so many people willing to serve on our boards and committees. You see all of our zones of responsibility on the trustee.
I just did note that on the planning board, you have Lisa Schwartzman as both a member and an alternate.
Okay, she is a member and
Yeah.
not an alternate. Okay, we'll strike that off of there. Thank you. And Jake Stortini is our alternate.
Right.
So we have an alternate vacancy on the planning board, and we have 2 vacancies on the ZBA. So we would love to hear from some residents who might want to serve as an alternate on one of those important boards. Is there a motion to adopt the reorganizational package?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was Israedi, followed by Murphy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we need to get oriented here into our resolutions. Okay, so we have the resolution dated, what's the number here? 14, thank you. Relating to annual reorganization, this is our meeting dates, official newspaper, mileage reimbursement rate, 53.5 cents per mile. Our blanket bond, check signing powers. So with that, is there a motion, motion to resolve relating to the annual reorganization packet? Not packet, really. That was the deputy mayor, is there a second?
Second.
That was trustee Murphy. And we'll do a roll call vote, please, on this resolution 14. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
And trustee Schneider?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Moving on, resolution on the code of ethics. Every year we review this and re-adopt it. Is there a motion to re-adopt our code of ethics?
So moved.
Is there a second? That was Schneider, followed by Major. Any discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Schneider?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Code of Ethics is readopted. Okay, we have some budget modifications. There are a number of them here, trustees, and since we forewent our workshop for the ceremony there, I'll just take you through them briefly. First, what you see is in fact the moving of celebrations, community garden, and street painting. Those funds we've talked about for a long time, which have always been in the general fund, but really shouldn't be. We've set up the other bank account, we've set up the trust, and this is to actually take the money that's sitting in the general fund and put it in those special trusts, so it can roll over and always be used for those things for which we receive those donations and fees. So, then, we've got, so we're in April, we've got a month left in our fiscal year, and so we're getting down where budget lines are going under. So, a bunch of small housekeeping things there. Court clerk for $100, traffic control, that was those signs we bought to go up on 9G. Snow removal, still a little vestige there, and zoning. And then you see under the F and G funds, we have some needs there. For all of those, for the general fund, we're going to go with contingency, which will just about wipe out our contingency for this year with 1 month to go. And the other contingencies for the water and sewer are still pretty healthy. So lastly, an innovation, which I do wish we'd had earlier, but we'll take it when we get it. With Michelle, we set up an engineering line in the water fund and in the sewer fund. So it's much easier now for us. We always would pay invoices through the A fund, but really if it's an engineering expense related to the treatment plant, keep it there. So now we have some new budget lines called F 1440 and G 1440, which is really great. I'm glad she did it. So these two under F, 3,723 and 7,200, those are bills we're now getting from Time Bond for the water tank seeker work. So the bills are coming in to do the work related to being able to show the residents what kind of water tower we can have and the engineering on where it can go, because there's some altitude issues. Does the next tank really have to be that high to have the same amount of pressure? It's got a greater volume. All of that engineering is what we're seeing here. So with that explanation, is there a motion to approve these budget modifications?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do a roll call, please. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Schneider?
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the budget modifications are adopted. Lastly, we have the resolution to establish unpaid water and sewer rent liens. Whereas the Village of Tivoli requires a fee for the use of the village's water sewer system, and where the following individuals have not paid the required fees, see the attached list. The total in unpaid fees so far is $18,049.83. So these can end up on people's property tax bill if it's not paid. With that said, is there a motion to establish the unpaid rent liens? That was Deputy Mayor, followed by Trustee Murphy. Any discussion? Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Schneider?
Aye.
I also vote aye. That's our final piece of regular business. Next board meeting will be held Wednesday, May 16th, 2018 at 7 p.m. here at the historic Watzke-Peister Hall, and preceded by a regular workshop on May 9th at 7 p.m. And trustees, again, because we didn't have the workshop, on May 9th we are going to have visits from both the school board, superintendent, and we're going to have visits from the Elite Committee on the Tivoli Library about some community outreach that they're going to be doing, some community conversations they're setting up at various places. They're going to meet with the village board. I think they're going to go down to the pub and they're going to talk to residents about what they want to see for their community, what they want to see for their library, and this is a requirement they have to meet. So we're going to have a lot of guests on the 9th. And also the day after our board meeting, as I said, in the State of the Village, May 17th at 7 p.m. will be a big informational session here in this room about the next water tower. Tank style, tank cost, and location. Big old ballpark price tag. So you corrected me though. We were watching different game shows.
We were.
Yeah, did you say Monty Hall last time? You said somebody.
I thought you said let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal, yeah.
Wouldn't it make you a lot older than him?
He's a little.
He's old.
Moving on to trustee reports. Trustee Ezrati, please.
Okay, our wells, it looks like the Woodmark and the two Potts East wells were doing the majority of the pumping this month. The Ball Lot well was off, the McKnight was on for the first 3 weeks and then off, and the 2PW was on for a total of about a week and a half. And the 5PW not on at all, so, but with those three strongest wells, the water tower pressure stayed at between 165 and 170, which is where we like it to be. And the total amount of water pumped was the average meter reading was about 55 to 60,000 gallons pumped per day. It looks like we had a leak at 5 Broadway on the hydrant, but no water main breaks during the month. And the water testing was good. Oh, there were 2 water main breaks, one at 3 Spring and one at 21 North Road.
Thank you, Trustee Ezrati.
Sorry.
Trustee Schneider, please. Report, please.
Absolutely. So for the month of March, the Village of Tivoli Justice Court summary report. Total charges received were 20. Total charges disposed were 30. Fines and surcharges, civil fees totaling $2,152 were collected and remitted to the State Comptroller's Office.
Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Deputy Mayor Major, please.
Right. Okay. For the rest of April, there's a program going, or the Tivoli Free Library is accepting, the program is called Food for Fines, and they're accepting donations of either non-perishable items or personal care items that will be donated to the Red Hook United Methodist Church Food Pantry. You bring donations to the circulation desk in lieu of paying fines. So bring a can of stuff and it knocks $3 off your fine. And of course, any patrons who would like to donate and don't have outstanding fines can just donate and return their books when they're due. Next Wednesday, there's a 6 p.m. There's the last April was Money Month at the library, and they were doing a series of financial planning seminars with Ardell Powell, and the one next Wednesday night is on estate planning. The usual fantastic Tivoli Libraries programs are going on, and so you can see that at tivolifreelibrary.org. And passes are available for both the Olana site and the Mid-Hudson Children's Museum at the circulation desk. So there's that. Historic Red Hook has a couple of very cool events coming up. Sunday the 29th from 3 to 5, there's a program called Marriage and Mischief, What is a Skimelton? And I'll tell you a little bit. It's this crazy tradition of sort of feting a new bride and groom by basically coming as a mob to their house
To harass them.
and like make a ton of noise and break stuff and
It's like Krampus.
kind of like Krampus, yeah, but not for Christmas. Like as a hey, you're married, that's awesome. So there's an author who's coming to talk about this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we can guarantee, I think, no broken glass or anything like that. And Friday, May 4th, from 7:30 to 9, there's going to be a early music at the Elmendorf concert. There was one, 2 months ago?
Yes,
Which was
and they are
really
fabulous. These musicians are unbelievable, and they're going to have a new instrument, not the harpsichord, but some very, very long stringed instrument,
Ooh.
which you may not have seen.
All right, well, this is, so it's the Hudson River Consort, and the title of the evening is Love, Wrath, and Madness in 17th Century Italy, Spain, and Peru.
And they invite, their tickets are usually about $15. The last time they had 65 people there, no, more than that. The good news is they use it as a fundraiser for some cause. So the first one was funds were given to the Elmendorf. This year, the May, whatever date that is, will be to raise funds for Puerto Rico.
Right, so May 4th. And
May 4th.
no reservations, but seating is limited, so come early. At Montgomery Place, there's a spring salon series going on, and this season it's Montgomery Place, a window on the world of Alexander Jackson Davis's architecture and design. And that is, the series started last Saturday, it goes for the next 3, and folks are talking about A.J. Davis and his stuff at Montgomery Place, and you will find out more than you ever thought you wanted to know, but you'll be glad you did. And of course, the grounds are open every day from dawn to dusk, free of charge. Claremont, the April 21st is the Chancellor's Sheep and Wool Showcase. And then on April 28th, Saturday, April 28th at 1 p.m., there's a citron melon jam making session. Actually, it's called a jam session, but I couldn't.
It's two, yeah.
It's two. And so, and then the two big things on my mind right now are Friday night is the third Tivoli Bard potluck supper. It's going to be right here in this room from 5 to 7. So the last two have been a lot of fun, and there's no reason to think that this one won't be. So please come. And Saturday, May 5th is the 7th annual Riverkeeper Hudson River cleanup. And we're going to be doing it down at the foot of Broadway from 9 to noon. Come on down, bring some gloves. We have plenty of garbage bags, and there will be prizes given for the weirdest thing found on the shore. Maybe the prize is just that you get to keep it. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Major. While we're on garbage, I just want to reiterate the terms of our new garbage can law. You heard we had 14 cited this month by the code enforcement officer. So whatever day your collection is, if your collection day is Wednesday, it's 6 p.m. Tuesday, you can put your can out, and you have to bring it back 10 p.m. Wednesday. If your collection day is Thursday, it's 6 p.m. Thursday, you put your can out, 10 p.m. 6 p.m. Wednesday, 10 p.m. Thursday, you take your can in. 6 o'clock the night before, 10 p.m. the day of. So we are enforcing that, and it's a small village, and we can see who's not doing it. But I have to say, I've been very pleased with the amount of compliance we've already seen. You know, there was some grumbling, but it's really not that hard. And you know, I've been out a couple times and seen one can in the whole village that was out on the wrong day, which I can't say that I've ever been able to say that for the last 6 years. So pleased with that. Also, as the
Sure.
just skipped you totally.
That's okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
And Tivoli Community Day, August 4th. And this weekend, the 28th from 10 to 2. Next weekend, the 28th. We're doing some trees this weekend. The tree committee's doing some stuff. On the 28th of April, 10 to 2, out here outside Village Hall at the gazebo is our 3rd annual Arbor Day. We have activities for children. Our award winner Dan McKenna is going to lead the guided tree walk. He'll take you around the village and tell you about different species of trees. We're going to have some live music. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful afternoon. And we have a nice tradition going now where there's a children's poster contest. And Michelle keeps that poster safe for 12 months, so we can pull it out the next year and use that as the poster. So the posters were produced yesterday. April 28th, 10 to 2. With that, Trustee Murphy?
So the summer rec program coming back, we're looking to extend the hours as I talked about earlier. I am looking for input. I'll be reaching out to the local Tivoli's, the parent group I worked with last year. They had great input. If you want to get involved, please don't hesitate to email me. We'll also be looking for counselors as well. So if you're interested, email me as well. I'll be reaching out to Red Hook to see what they have, because I know they had to switch over their director this summer. And if you're a local resident and you would like to participate in some way, shape, or form, contact me as well, because I'd like to integrate different things. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Murphy. With that, trustees, any other thing we want to discuss, or should we go to public comment? All right. We'd like to open the floor for public comment on any topic. Mr. Walsh.
Peter Walsh, 18 Green Tree Road. I want to talk about the condition of our roads in the development. Lothrop Lane is like sinking into the clay, especially by where that drainage thing is, by where that state IRA house is, where the pipes are. We gotta, you drive in to go to the condos. It was at Lisa Lane where they had that water main break.
We're right as you enter on Elizabeth.
Yeah, and, it's time to start, blacktopping our roads here, or doing something, because that neighborhood is, is
I'm glad you
really,
bring this up, because
poor
I think that this
condition.
is one of the next enormous things the village has to do, which is basically repave that whole development, and probably Woods Road as well.
yeah.
I think, right on the tail of this water and sewer issue, I put that at the top of my list as the next thing, because in 2 more years, 3 more years, so what I do intend to do is get over there with our engineer this season, do a full assessment, figure out exactly what we're talking about, because that's a lot of paving. But, certainly patching.
Certain roads are worse than others naturally.
Yeah, but you're right to bring
And
that up.
then there's some, a couple small landscape features, like on Madeline Court, which has been in disrepair for umpteen years, I'm sure, since it was put in, huh?
Those cones.
Well, the cones are, over there.
They've been there for 8 months.
Yeah, so, it's this looks great, everything's cool here, but there's also that's part of the village.
Yep.
Along those same lines, I have one property that I have on either side of the drainage ditch that I've kept clear, that I was told when I first moved in 20-some years ago, that keep it clean so we can get the drainage through there. However, the reeds have grown up, not only on the north side of Lothrop Lane in front of the Wasaic home, but behind the other houses on the other side of Lothrop. And that actually has the water coming out and then coming down and funneling into a drainage ditch down by Memorial that's no more than 3 feet wide. So my property gets all flooded, and I'm just wondering if the village has anything in the future plans of clearing that out, or can I do something on my property to make my property attractive to myself?
I'm having a little trouble picturing exactly where you're at, but I'd love to come over and look at it with you. Are we talking about where we had the sinkhole by the
Yes,
big
right there.
culverts where the reeds come
Going
up?
south.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
Going south. All that.
Because we had crossed paths there one day when you were in the
Yes.
truck, right?
Yes.
So that's where we're talking?
Right.
Okay, well, I would like to come over and see
Sure.
where it's flowing when there's a lot of water, because I've seen the sinkhole, but what the water's doing.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Because as the water's flowing this way, out of the
Right.
neighborhood, as it's passing through Glenn's property, he maintains it, but as it's heading south, I guess, nobody's maintaining it, and it's just getting filled in with sludge and leaves. They don't do anything to that drain, that's not even any property owner's problem, and it's just a mess. So then it's backing up his, right, Glenn?
On our survey, the town has an easement, 15, 20 feet. foot
That's so
easement.
they can come in and
10
clean
foot
it out,
easement.
so they can work on it.
Yeah.
But see, we
They
get
don't
also
work on
when the condominiums will bring their snow down, we get all that water as well. So I was just wondering if you were anything to do with that.
That ditch is, past Glenn and Leslie's house, south, is totally neglected.
Clogged.
Overgrown, weeds,
And our easement
And
used
it's
to
backing
just be
up.
a gradual little slope, and now it's a
a ditch.
gouged
cut.
ditch, yeah, as a result, I think as a result.
Yeah, because it keeps backing
Yeah.
up and the road,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, we'll get over there and take a look at it.
Super. Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing
Sure.
too, and I've brought this up several times, but I just want to continue a conversation about possibly having a Tivoli-wide junk day, where we
Yeah.
can give residents the opportunity to get rid of things in their yards that they don't use or need and don't have the means or a way to get rid of them.
We will
So,
continue our conversation, yes.
Yeah, to add to that, I was on one of my little bicycle trips and on Washburn, I think it's number 5, total wreck. There's a mattress out in the yard, on the side yard, I mean, it's a mess. So there's your junk day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, on that, and thank you for letting me know, any of these things, we have an effective code enforcement officer presently, and his email is Bizio, we remember it like B-I-Z-E-O, right? Bizio at Tivoli NY. And you can tell me, you can go straight to him, and he's here twice a week and he goes after stuff. So something like that, if you see it, send an email to me, copy him or write him directly, because those are just the kind of things, some days I don't get over here for a while or a week or something, and residents might see something that I don't see, and it's a small place, we sort of all need to let him know where things are that need to be addressed. Yes,
I just want to fill you in on fire department stuff.
thank you.
Real quick. We applied for a grant, told you guys way back, a few months back, we applied for AFG grant for a new set of jaws for $60,000. We got a bad newsletter the other day saying, you are not going to be funded. So just want to let the board be aware that that's a piece of equipment that Tom will be talking with you guys and us and seeing what we want to do. Whether we want to retrofit, fix what we have, upgrade what we have, or buy something that's needed. So that's basically the only thing that's going on. We went after this grant 3 times. It's 3 years, and this year they had, according to the letter, $2.1 billion worth of grant request. And with all the disasters that went on and fire companies that got totally wiped out and stuff like that, I can kind of see why they said, money's better used somewhere else. Even though we don't feel that way, but other than that, same thing, burn thing is still in effect till May 15th, no burning. Everything's been going good, we had our dinner. And
Right.
brought in a new member. I won't mention the new member's name yet.
Do we currently have a functioning Jaws of Life?
We do.
Okay.
It's just that last time they were bought was 1996. And back in 1996, those jaws could cut metal that was manufactured back in that era. And nowadays, the cars, the pins that hold, that we have to cut to get into the cars and stuff to get people out, our cutters can't cut them.
Okay.
It's just, it's just too much force on a new type of metals that they came out with.
Yep.
So ours will work on, some of the older cars and stuff, and it's just that we may have to replace our cutter tool to make it that
Okay.
we don't run into a problem. I mean, you got the trains, you got the trucks, you got the cars, we need that equipment to get into those cars.
Right.
Like I said, Tom, we're trying to figure our way around not spending that kind of money. So we're looking at different avenues.
Okay.
So,
I want to let you know that I sent our specs for the driveway out to 3 contractors and waiting.
yeah, I know. I kind of got stuck printing one of those things off for one of the guys that he said 150 pages. I said, what do I look like? So, but he printed it off, so yeah.
Okay, good. So hopefully we'll hear back soon and move forward with that quickly.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
That's good, yep. So other than that,
Thank you, Tom. Other comments or questions from the public? Thank you very much for staying for our meeting and for your input and concern about the village, and I'll follow up with each of you about what you told us about tonight. Trustees, anything further?
No, but for staying after, you guys can take home the rest of the cake.
Should we pass the resolution quickly?
Yeah.
All right, folks, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
8:49, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Right.